Hi, I'm Michela. I'm head of PR and marketing at Asprey Studio. We are a gallery and atelier. We're based in Kent in the UK. We are a bit of an unconventional gallery. We work across digital and physical mediums. So we also have a workshop where we work with silversmith and materials. That's also the reason why we are presenting at our Basel 010 here in Basel. A solo booth by generative artist, engineer and blacksmith DEAFBEEF. So as you can see here behind, these works are called synth poems, oscilloscopes. The artist created the digitals in 2021 and paired them with the physical sculptures this year. So everything you see here, the artist has created himself, forging iron. We also have an accompanying videos showing his studio. So his practice goes across digital and physical mediums. The artist draws parallels between blacksmithing and computational creation. He was describing it as having similarities in a way of using an homogeneous material, which is iron, so used as well to create his own systems and tools, in the same way as computational creation and coding. The artworks that you see here, these are interactive and audiovisual. They can be manipulated. The artist invites the audience and visitors to touch it. You can see here in this one that we put up the volume with the speaker. The volume goes pretty high. And so, yeah, there is a tactile element to these works that the artist wanted to retain. He made the sculpture in the shape of an analog oscilloscope. And an oscilloscope is a test instrument that was introduced in the late 1900s to measure signals. So it was still in use in healthcare, especially measuring signal in a visually. That's why we're also presenting for historical purposes two original prints by Ben Lapowski from 1953. He was a mathematician, an artist, one of the earliest pioneer of electronic digital art, as he was using as an oscilloscope to manipulate the waves and the signals and photographing them. Another reference that the DEAFBEEF uses is filmmaker Mary Ellen Booth. She was an experimental filmmaker, and between the 30s and the 50s, she made a series of experimental films using oscilloscopic imagery and visual music. So the musical element, the audio element is key to the artist's work. We can also especially see in this largest piece, it's called Glitchbox. As the oscilloscope Glitchbox was born digital, and then it was later paired with this sculpture. What we see here is in an analog, I would say, like, the artist used the word maxing, or max in the sense of tactile feeling, as this work is very much interactive. Visitors can use headphones and they can hear the sound and the music. So everything you see is live on blockchain. And so the manipulation are actually changing the algorithm, and they change the audio and the visual. And it's up to people to try and figure out exactly. The artist purposely doesn't give specific instructions, as he wants to, invite people to co-create a meaning with the work.
What I like about it is that it's really a nice way to present or use digital media, because it's so tactile, and you have both, and you have a lot of you have sound, you have a haptic feeling, you have visuals, and yeah, that's really fantastic. I really
Yeah,
love it.
thank you as well. With the gallery, we very much very much support digital art in an historical lineage as well, as digital art is not something new. Sometimes there are misconceptions, and it's something that was created starting in the 50s and 60s. And also another important element, as you said, is the physical element. It's something that we were discussing with the artists as well. It's something really interesting, that the tactile and the sense of touch. It's something that with the digital, even the word itself, like from Latin, means fingertips. So it's something that has not disappeared, but it just had a different role and a different meaning. So we very much like support and share the vision of our artists that we're presenting here today, in the sense of placing the physical sculpture and the physical mediums of art in conversation with the digital. It's something that has been happening, and it's something that even like make the art of making something. It has now a different role. So with the gallery as well, working with silversmith especially, now we're based in the UK, in London, so now silversmithing has been recently included in a red danger, is an endangered craft, like officially from the Goldsmith Centre. So it's something that needs to be preserved, almost like a language that is almost being not spoken anymore by many people. So it's something that we find extremely interesting, to see this interaction between digital and physical.
And the funny thing is that, I mean, with the digital media, you have the problem as well that craft goes lost somehow, because you know, the early programming skills. I mean, if you ask someone how can you program something, few people know how to do that. In ancient languages, coding. And so it has similarities, the craft and the digital craft.
Absolutely, exactly. So in this case, it's very much like the appreciation of the studying and the knowledge of the artist has, for example, in coding. So in generative art, and then almost like naturally, he said it almost like happened very much naturally, his interest in more like practical crafts. Almost like as a joke, he was saying to get out of the screen for a bit, but then upon reflection, very much in a similar way, like learning how to make something out of a material.
Really cool booth, and how was the experience at 010 here? Did you like the presentation and the reception from the public?
Yeah, so this is actually our third presentation at our Basel 010. So we participated in the first edition in Miami, second edition in Hong Kong, and now this is the first European edition of 010. We had actually like a very nice reception. So also, I come from the traditional art sector. I've been working in the digital for the last couple of years, and I find differences and similarities. What we find very interesting, what I personally also find interesting, is that we were discussing this with many people, with many galleries and artists, and 010 is pointing out something different about digital art that's been going on for many years, as we were discussing before, but we find it like now relevant to give it more like a stage. Also, this gives the opportunity to younger galleries and more like flexible models to also be seen by a leading art fair, and also be more like part of the conversation globally. So we are extremely grateful, our artists as well, our digital art community. It's something that wasn't done before. So we are excited to see how this conversation will continue.
Perfect. So what will be the next, will you be at the next presentation of 010 as well, I guess?
We will apply. So as the other sections of the fair is upon application, we will definitely apply. It would be in Miami. So it would be very interesting to see the second edition in the same place, with the same market, as of course each of the edition has been curated according to the market. So definitely it's interesting to see also as a European, to see something so different in the heart of Europe, especially at Basel, which is the original fair, the most important fair of the calendar year for us in the art sector. So we find the reception, we saw a lot of curiosity from people and collectors, let's say traditional collectors, definitely curiosity. And we also found that probably there were not so many barriers in the end. People, for example, in our booth engage really naturally with the works. Sometimes the only questions is mainly like, can I touch it? But then they see other people doing it and there are headphones. So almost like it feels easy for them to engage. And it's almost like through this synesthesia of, like, as we were saying, audio, visuals, digital, physical. It's almost like, in the end, yeah, there were not so many barriers to understand or to start understanding more about digital art.